Hey, I'm Naja. um, this is my first video, so, probably not the right thing to do to talk about something serious for your first one, but, it's something that I feel very strongly about. Sexual abuse or, abuse of any kind is not something to joke about, or make fun of, or lie, or anything like that. When I was 18, I started a relationship with a guy that was not going to end very well. So, that guy online, not the greatest place to meet a guy in the first place, but, met him, had my parents meet him, all that kind of stuff. After about a week of knowing him, he kind of convinced me to fool around, and I went along with it because I'd never had a boyfriend before. I wanted to fit in just like all the other times. I've always had low self-esteem issues, so it's never been a good thing for me. So he left for a week because he wasn't originally from my area. He left for a week, came back, and in that week he kind of convinced me to have sex with him. Mind you, I was a virgin before that. So that happened. And then for about a year and a half, we traveled back and forth to see each other. And, more things would go on. And at the time, it was kind of a normal relationship. And then in August of 2010, he decided to move closer to me. I kind of told him that, it would be really hard to keep doing this long distance relationship if something didn't happen. So we moved here, and he kind of changed, became somebody different. He would demand more of my time. I wouldn't get to spend time with my friends or anything. He wanted me at his apartment by a certain time. And he would expect that his apartment would be clean. He'd have dinner ready when he got home. And that I would be awake at 2:30 in the morning. Even if I did have class that next morning. So it got to a point where I wasn't able to really go to class. Because I was too tired, or he wouldn't give me a ride over there because I didn't have my own car. And then things got kind of funny He wanted sex more often, and I didn't. But he would beg and ask all the time. And it got to the point where I got annoyed with it, and so I would just give in. This would go on for a long time. He would, and it wasn't fun, and I didn't like it at all. There was one night that, he wanted to do, anal. It was not something I was completely or even at all comfortable with. I didn't want to do it. I didn't. I knew it was going to hurt. I knew it was just gross. It still is gross to me. But, he forced it. I cannot begin to tell you how much it hurt, because he wasn't gentle. He wasn't gentle at all. All I remember is my screaming and crying, because he did not stop until he was done. I screamed and I cried throughout the entire thing, and he told me to be quiet. He told me that I needed to shut up because the neighbors would hear. I couldn't. It hurt too bad. I don't deal with pain in the first place. He tried to comfort me after that, but I didn't want him to touch me. Then the physical abuse started. I remember one day I was lonely and sad, and I wanted him to stay home from work with me. He hadn't taken a day off ever, so I thought, one day wouldn't hurt. He got mad, and he took me by the throat, and he threw me onto the bed, told me to stop crying, and that he was going to work, and that was it. At the end of the day, there was no text message saying he was sorry. Nothing. He came back, he came home, wanting the same thing. There were countless other times where he would grab at my wrists and twist them to the point where it hurt. The sexual abuse would go on for a long time. And I can't begin to tell you how many times it was like that one night. How many times I would just give in because I couldn't take his begging. I found out I was pregnant with my daughter in November of 2011. She was the absolute highlight of my life. I was so excited. And I still am excited about her. I mean, seriously, she kind of is pretty cute. I tried to tell him. He would have nothing of it. He was mad. Didn't want to have anything to do with it. Told me to get an abortion for 3 months. I was not allowed to tell anyone until I think it was either he could figure out something to do, whether that meant convince me to get an abortion, or he was waiting for me to lose it. I had thought many times before to commit suicide. Many times. I cannot even begin to tell you how many times I wanted to. He just, for some reason, and I think it was because of her, I stopped thinking that way. He would not allow me to tell other people. I wasn't even allowed to tell my parents, or his parents, my brother, anybody. I did tell a few friends, my roommate being one of them. So they were the only ones who knew. My parents found out when I was about 5.5 months pregnant, and they weren't, they were surprised. Didn't know why it took me that long to tell them, but they were happy. They were very happy. They're really supportive, and I really appreciate them for that. So, then we, he started being more open about the whole baby thing. He was still abusive, and physically and sexually, and emotionally. I mean, he would call me fat and ugly and stupid and a bitch a lot. My least favorite one was cunt. I hate that word. I really do. Don't use it. It's really degrading. So then that happened. And he punched me in the stomach a few times. And then on Christmas Eve, 2012, I was talking to another guy. Because at the same time I felt like that relationship was over. And I needed to feel loved from somebody. And he found out. He was very angry. So he pinned me down on the air mattress at his brother-in-law's house. Pinned me down, slapped me across the face, not once, but twice, endangering my child and myself. And I ran upstairs and I ran into his brother-in-law, and he had asked me if he'd hit me, and I said yes. And like a fool, I went back downstairs. But nothing happened after that. And then, June 24th, 2012 rolled along, and my little girl was born. The happiest day of my life. At this point, my parents know about the abuse and that it happened. My family knows. So he's in the hospital room. Here's the one piece of advice that I give you before I go on with the rest of the story. If you ever are in an abusive relationship with a person and you are having a child with them, do not put their name on the birth certificate. It is a single most destructive and most stupid mistake I've ever made in my entire life. We bring Emma home. She's absolutely a bundle of joy. I love her to death. He's there almost every day. And I'm still in this I think I still love him phase. I thought what he was doing was love. And I didn't think I could live without him. At the same time, he still pushes me for sex. And I still give in. I was scared. I didn't want him to hit me. I knew how to keep his anger under control. I knew all of that. It was like something I had mastered. And then it got to the point where it was really hard to handle him being around. And Emma was about 3 months old. 2.5. And it was in the August of 2012, that first weekend. I'm not so sure on the date, but I know that it was that Saturday. He came over to see Emma and me because I wanted him to. I wanted him to have a relationship with Emma. I felt like I still loved him. And we got into an argument. And I wanted to walk away. I didn't want to yell or scream in front of my daughter. And she was in her little swing at the time. He got in front of me. I tried to walk away. He grabbed my wrist. I got one free and then tried to punch him in the stomach to get him out of the way. And he grabbed me by the throat and squeezed so I couldn't breathe. At that moment, I was so scared. So I ran to my room, and then he came in. He tried to comfort me, and then we had sex because he begged. It was very difficult. I didn't want him to touch me. And then he went home. And then on countless occasions that would happen again. Now, my parents know basically everything. So they do what they can to protect me. And then I am so scared of what he does to me. He threatens me. He calls me names. He makes me feel like I'm nothing. I've always felt that way ever since I've known him. I felt like I've been nothing. So I went and talked to a lawyer about what I could do. There's restraining orders, but that doesn't mean that I'm necessarily, covered underneath it. And they would give him visitation. There's an order of protection, but again, that doesn't mean that I was underneath that. And again, they would give him visitation. What she told me is I could write him a letter. I could write him a letter and tell him how I feel. I can keep him off of my property. I can call the cops if he comes here and he's not wanted. I can, or I can just keep it the way that it is. But she suggests that I not do anything because I have sole legal custody of my daughter, and right now he has nothing. Which is the way that I want it. He threatens me all the time that he's gonna, go for custody and all this kind of stuff. I cannot even begin to think about him having her like that. I can't. I just can't. I don't know what he'd do. I really don't know. That little girl is my everything. And I don't want him to have her. She's my reason for living. Everything that I've gone through, she's here. I've been told there's nothing I can do. And I feel so helpless. I feel like I can't protect my little girl. For all I care, he can rot in hell. He's happy now. He has a girlfriend who has 4 kids. He sees her more than his own daughter. It's just one of those things that's really eating me up inside. And it has been for a long time. The emotional strain that is on me It's ridiculous. I have to live with this. I have to live with these memories and these images and thoughts. It's really hard. Sometimes it keeps me up at night. I don't want to fall asleep and I'm another nightmare. I think the last time that he saw her was at the beginning of June. And somehow my parents haven't seen him for 2 months. Somehow he knows when I'm alone. Somehow he just shows up. I can't live like this anymore. I constantly live in fear. And I constantly live in a life in a way that is not healthy. And it's time to change. It's time to feel better. It really is time. I guess my advice or encouragement, no matter what way you want to see it, is to make sure that you know the signs and that you get people out of it as soon as possible. Because I don't wish this on my worst enemy. It's so hard to live with. It's really hard to live with. You also need to make sure that you stick up for yourself. You take control of your life and your destiny, or whatever you believe in. Make sure that you know that you are in control of your life, not someone else. And don't be scared. Don't be scared to leave that person if they're hurting you because they don't love you. That's not love. Be honest. Be honest about what's going on if somebody has. And friends and family, if you notice signs, get them out. Because this is so hard to live with. I guess, on a light note, you can do this. You can make it through it. You can do it. Because somebody out there does love you for who you are and everything that you're going to be. But it's not okay for someone to hit you or hurt you in any way, shape, or form. It's not okay to call people names. It's not okay to make fun of other people. It's not okay to control somebody else's life and every move that they make. You can do this. You can get past it. Because I seriously know that I'm going to. And it's gonna be alright.